And this is our continuing coverage of the deadly Red Fort terror attack that has shocked not just the nation but the entire world, where at least 8 people have lost their lives this evening after a car exploded near gate number 1 of the Red Fort metro station in what officials now suspect was a terror-related incident. Now what we are learning is that the CCS meeting will take place when Prime Minister Modi returns from Bhutan. A call about the blast was received around 6:55 p.m. this evening, following which 7 fire tenders were rushed to the spot. The firefighters managed to bring the blaze under control, but all the security agencies are currently on the ground, including the National Investigation Agencies, the NSG, as well as the UP ATS. Home Minister Amit Shah met the injured at the LNJP hospital in the national capital. Over 20 people have been left injured in the wake of this blast. He's also conducted an inspection of the blast site. Let's take you through the visuals which emerged right in the wake of this explosion, ladies and gentlemen, which has claimed 8 lives. This is the first instance of the blast. As you can see, a fireball erupted in the middle of this parking area with so many vehicles and public around it. This, what the reports are telling us, is that an IED was used inside an I-20 Hyundai car which exploded, and as you can see, there were so many people around. The blast radius was massive, and so many people around in this public area next to the Red Fort metro station. This was clearly a planned area where the terrorists and where the attackers placed this particular IED inside the vehicle. If you can see the more visuals which are coming in from different angles, as we can see the aftermath of this blast, you can see that so many people gathered in this area to take videos of this particular blast. But as you can see, the fire continues to rage right after the blast, surrounded by so many mangled vehicles. 10 to 12 vehicles in the area were destroyed in the wake of that IED blast, and police were trying desperately to clear the site so that there are no more injuries. If we look at more visuals from the initiation of that blast, as you can see this entire auto was completely mangled, and the auto driver also injured in the wake of the blast. That was the ferocity by which this IED exploded in every direction, and you can see how the shock waves completely crippled this auto and injured this auto driver. If you look at more visuals which emerged from the blast, you can see these are the remains of the blast as cooling operations were underway. So many vehicles completely destroyed as the blast emanated from that particular Hyundai I-20 and caused so much widespread damage. Earlier reports indicated it could have been a CNG blast, but you can just see the extent to which the damage has been caused. And an IED is what top sources have told us was used in this attack, where an IED was placed inside that Hyundai I-20. And this is the devastation it has caused. 8 people have lost their lives and over 20 have been injured, currently receiving treatment at the LNJP hospital. So this is the scenario that has emerged, where all the agencies are on the ground to try to track down who is responsible for this terror attack. What we are learning is that the I-20 Hyundai was owned by an individual named Mohammed Salman, who's been detained by the Haryana police. He had sold that I-20 to a man named Devender 1.5 years ago. And now the question remains that that particular individual, Devender, he is also being questioned by the police. He said he has sold that particular car to someone in Ambala. There's a huge nexus that is now emerging when it comes to the ownership of that particular I-20, and the agencies are cracking down to get to the bottom of the terrorists as well as the particular cell that could be involved in this deadly attack that has claimed 8 lives in the national capital, a huge jolt to the national security grid of the country. I'm joined by my colleagues Anshul as well as Anvit, who are getting us the latest from ground zero. Anshul, you've been tracking all the developments which have been coming in. Akash, has been tracking all the developments which are coming in, as well as Anvit reporting live from the blast site. Akash, over to you. What's the latest as the sanitization operations are still underway and the forensic teams as well as other agencies are on the ground gathering evidence?
Right, so I'm standing, very close to the site where this explosion happened at around 7 p.m. today, and I'll show you the visuals first of all, the sort of devastation that has happened because of the sort of explosion. There you can see a number of vehicles, that have been in fact destroyed because of the sort of explosion that we have seen in the evening today. And, there we have an Omni vehicle and in fact a number of police personnel. In fact, the agency is investigating as to what happened and, what was the nature of this particular explosion. It is a suspected terror attack, but right now Home Minister has said it categorically that we still don't know as to how it happened, under what circumstances, and only investigation will let us know as to what was the nature of this particular attack. Also, as far as the ground condition is concerned, so we have been given to understand that at least 9 people have lost their life and more than 15 are injured. This is one of the busiest areas of the national capital. This is Old Delhi area, where on one side we have the iconic Red Fort, and on the other hand, we have the Chandni Chowk market. And right now, this particular road leads to the Old Delhi railway station. In fact, Karthik is showing you the visuals where we have a number of ambulances, that have been stationed here because of the sort of casualty count that we had initially. And after that, we had, the agencies, NSG, crime branch of Delhi Police personnel, and in fact, the NIA that is very much investigating, the particular scenario. Also, as far as, last 48 hours are concerned, so we have seen a number of things. In fact, the explosives that were recovered from Faridabad, and in fact, the module, in fact, that was possibly, busted. In fact, in the morning today, we have been reporting that how, kilos of explosives was found in Faridabad. But right now, the whole focus is on this particular, explosion. Whether or not it was a terror attack, we'll get some sort of clarity after investigation. But right now, we have Delhi Police personnel, and in fact, the agencies very much investigating, and in fact, the crime branch of Delhi Police very much, taking care of the sort of destruction that has happened, and in fact, taking notes, of the kind of scenario and scene that they are seeing right now.
Right, and Anshul also is joining us on the broadcast, getting us the latest when it comes to the chain of events which took place in the run-up to this blast, and also right after it, as more and more agencies have been deployed on the ground to get to the bottom of who is responsible for this deadly terror attack that has jolted the entire nation. Anshul, what is the latest from Ground Zero? Home Minister Amit Shah was also inspecting the site along with the Delhi Police Chief, and more agencies have been deployed to gather evidence.
Well, yes, at this point in time, the administration is making sure that it leaves no stone unturned before reaching any conclusion over here. And that is the reason why the Home Minister himself stated that it is too early to come out with any conclusion. And that is exactly the reason why still there are senior police officers who are still present on Ground Zero, who are still trying to get a gauge of this entire situation. And the investigations are still underway. Out here at CNN News 18, we have been able to find the exact RC of the vehicle that was used in this blast. This vehicle had multiple owners. One of the first owners was Salman, who was initially detained by the Delhi police, and then he has been allowed to let go. Post this vehicle was sent to one Dharmendra, and then eventually to one Nadeem, is what the chain of events that has come to the fore. Who was present inside the vehicle? The person the person who was driving the vehicle, the 3 people who were inside the vehicle. Who were these people? They have still not been identified by the police. 2 people out of the 8 dead bodies that have been recovered have been identified. 6 unknown bodies are still lying at LNGP, whereas 1 body part, which is also of an unknown person. This could be a body part of the other bodies that have already reached LNGP, or this could be a body part of a new person as well. So 8 dead plus 1 unknown body part, along with that 20 injuries, is something that has now officially been confirmed from the side of LNGP. But still, the exact reason of the blast, why did the blast happen, how did the blast happen, that is something that has still not been cleared. I'll just try to show you yet again that the fire department vehicles are still present over here, and this is the exact red light where the vehicle initially slowed down, and then eventually the blast happened over here. You can see the vehicles of NSG right at the spot where the incident had happened. So definitely nothing has been ruled out at this point in time. Too early to come out with any conclusion, but prima facie, if you look at the kind of blast that has happened historically out here in the national capital, be it ID blast, be it RDX blast that has happened, it is not seeming like that at this point in time. But this could be a new modus operandi. Some new chemicals could have also been used, and that is something that is still being investigated. None of the angles, whether it was a terrorist attack or not, that has also not been ruled out at this point in time, and that is precisely the reason why by national agencies like the NIA and NSG, who has a lot of experience with such explosions and explosives. They are trained in this particular manner, and hence they have been called in to look at the exact site and then carry out their experiments before reaching any conclusion. So tomorrow morning, as the Home Minister said, that he will have a meeting with all the senior officers from different agencies before reaching any sort of a conclusion. So it remains to be seen tomorrow morning what kind of conclusion will the investigation be reached upon. But at this point in time, nothing has been ruled out. All angles are open. This could be a CNG blast that could have happened. This could be a terror attack that could have happened. All these angles are still being looked into. Nothing has been ruled out. Too early to reach any conclusion. But 8 people dead, 1 unknown body part recovered, along with that 20 other people injured from this very spot.
Sure, I'm sorry to interrupt. We have just accessed